The iron ore completionist crash. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from news.com written by David Linwood-Smith about, a crash apparently about iron ore projects. Now, when you add the word crash to anything, it makes it sound more scary and like it's going to be the big dramatic change that will happen. But we'll have to see. These things tend to move rather slowly and businesses, plan for it, to be brutally honest. So iron ore completions crash is inevitable and unavoidable. I mean, I remember it's just the market cooling down in many ways, I'd argue. I remember when coal prices shot up to the moon, we had so much work in the mining industry. And that, adjusted. A lot of those projects got smaller. And some of the work moved around. So you just find other things. You take the skills and knowledge we took the skills and knowledge we used there, and it's now led to education work, which you wouldn't think. But let's just, before we look at that, let's overlay this guy here. This is from our good old friend, regulars of the channel will know this, the Observatory of Economic Complexity. This is Australia. Okay? Our economic complexity for trade, we're 77th in the world. Don't look at who's better than us, it'll just make you depressed. Our economic complexity for technology, we're right up there with 13th on the world, which is good. And our economic complexity for research, see they've added, I haven't seen these two, these are new. They've added new things here. We're 4th in the world. Because Australia, we do have a lot of research advantages in particular fields. So, we have our products, our exports are 424 billion, our imports are 292 billion. Per capita, exports $16.3 thousand and imports 11.2. So there you go. We're doing well. We're selling more stuff than we're buying. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. But if we scroll down here, I'm not signing up for the pro data, sorry. If we have a look here, we can see this is the historic data from 2022. And right now, iron ore, or in 2022 data, was 20.7% of our export market. Coal, briquettes were 25.7%. So coal was right there, 109 billion. Iron ore, $87.9 billion. Here we've got a lot of it in Queensland, bit in New South Wales, some in Victoria, West Australia pretty much. There, the iron ore. And I mean, if we look at iron ore, will it tell us where it's going to? It will. 82.5% to China. You've got Japan, a tiny amount, 7.39%, then South Korea as well. So this is a great website to get a bit of an appreciation for, our exports, where they're going. And you can see, where is it? Will it have the imports in here, or do I have to pay extra for that? Maybe I have to, here we go. Imports. They've changed their whole website, guys. Oh, wait, here we go. Imports, historic data. And you can see... what? Why have I still got coal selected? Oh, reset visualization. There we go. I'm like a boomer learning all this stuff. You can see 27.8% of our imports, all of them, come from China. And let's click on that, and hopefully it'll update this. What's the biggest import from China is computers. I'm not surprised. My new NAS drive came from there. It's one of the reasons why I've been pretty much taking a week off from uploading. Creating videos uses a lot of data. You wouldn't think, this is why mine are only in 1080p 30 frames per second. Because I toyed around with the idea of going to 60 frames per second and 4K, which, I mean, for my type of videos, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. But that really blows out my data storage. And I've just bought a new Synology NAS, and now I got two 16 terabyte drives, and I'm already thinking of buying more. It shows you. So I'll be contributing to this import from China very soon. So there you go. That's for all the people that are supporting the channel. That's where the money's going in paying for storage. So this gives you a bit of an appreciation of how important iron ore is, or the exports for iron ore are for our economy. But, I mean, what we're talking about here, completions. Now, I'm not sure, I haven't read the article. It says mines finishing, going offline, or is this projects finishing? So we'll have a look. We'll have a look, because they have different implications. So, And you've got to understand, David tends to have a particular spin on a lot of the news and how he pushes things forward. Always, well, leaning to, I'd say, a more alarmist approach. At least it feels like that from what I see here. So we just keep that in mind. When considering the future of iron ore, there are two important charts for China to remember. The first is the flow of floor area starts, which is the number of new buildings begun for construction over a given period. Last year, the flow was far worse than anybody predicted. Chinese developers cannot get the money to build any new projects. Okay, so he's talking the other end. China's demand for iron ore is going to drive up. Now, if we bring up this guy here, I mean, what we can do is we can look at, this is a really good website, and you can see all this stuff for free. We can look here, iron ore, and let me have a shot of coffee. Okay. So, French trade class of, what is this? No, hang on. Data, product data set, we'll see here. I think they've changed all of this, guys. They've changed it all. Okay, iron ore, here. I want to look at the overall. Iron ore concentrate, not iron, okay. Not iron pyrites. Oh. From direct reduction of iron ore. They really go in the details here. I want minerals. Okay, wait, here we go. Seed profile. This should give us an overview of the entire industry. Okay, world trade in iron ore is $159 billion. Top exporter is Australia at $87.9 billion. The top importer is China at $103 billion. This is why he's talking about China. This is why he's worried about China with regards to iron ore, which is 20% of our exports, so it's significant for Australia, very significant for Western Australia. The complexity is pretty low. I mean, you've been using, how old is the Iron Age? So keep that in mind. Although I'd say the complexity of Australia's extraction of iron ore surpasses other countries. And if we have a look here at the historic data, we can see here the top exporter is Australia, then Brazil, and you've got China and Japan as number two. Like they don't even compare. Japan is 1/10 of China. Where's the US? Is US even there? US is import values, not even $1 billion, $997 million, 0.063%. There you go. So if this takes a hit, it's going to have an impact on Australia. It will. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to mean the whole economy is going to collapse. You know, maybe WA may need to be a bit more sensible with some of their policies, hey? Anyway, so for the floor area, the floor area fell by more than 2/3 from the peak, and the current sales projects even further falls. However, as doomed as construction volume appears in terms of new building starts, actual building activity as measured by buildings under construction is much less terrifying. In fact, the measure of stock of building floors under construction is down by only 11% from the peak. Some of this huge gap can be explained by the delay between breaking ground on a new project and completing it. Naturally, it will take time for the construction stock, its volume, to catch down to the number of starts by floor area volume. Well, it looks like they're seeing no difference to what we're having here, particularly in our domestic market. Slightly different scale, but similar. Goldman Sachs has labeled this gap and delay the completions cliff, the point at which the two charts converge. The convergence point has very negative implications for Australian bulk commodity demand. But there are complicating factors. Some developers have started, stalled and restarted developments, so they're registered as under construction but not new starts. Others have access to public financing, so they complete projects and run off the under construction figure. This makes the precise timing of the completions cliff challenging to judge. What we can say is this year began with a significant drop in completion, suggesting the cliff is near, and the completions trend has a pretty good correlation with iron ore prices. Let's look at, I'll bring up trading economics, guys. Economics, can I overlay that with a number 2? Yes, I can. Trading economics, we'll check out the iron ore prices. at the time of recording. Iron ore, $102. There you go. So it's definitely down from where it was. But let's have a look at all data. There you go. All data, 2008. I mean, okay, cool. Remember when I have to check what the latest Australian government figures are, but they were budgeting prices of $50 a tonne. So when their politicians are saying how good a job they're doing, how much of it is just bloody luck. In conclusion, there are doubts about when Chinese property construction volumes will genuinely crash. What we can say is the crash is unavoidable, the largest ever witnessed in the galaxy, and it is coming sooner rather than later. If you think that Canberra is prepared, then guess again. So there we go. So warning us about a crash in the Chinese property sector. And let's have a bit of a talk about this one, guys. I mean, I'm just thinking back to all the fear-mongering over the last few years about Chinese construction collapses. You got big developers falling over. People were thinking it was going to be a new GFC. A whole lot of fear and trepidation, flames in the background, scary pictures, scary thumbnails, all the economic doom and fear associated with it. And what's manifested from that? Over the last few years, what have you encountered? How are you guys going with your finances, with your own situation? I mean, sure, if there's going to be a decrease in demand for iron ore, there are several competitive advantages Australia has on a global stage for our product. There's certain quality we can produce. There's certain labor standards we have compared to other countries, and that will hopefully lead to an advantage. Remember when China was shutting down this industry, that industry, the other industry, and we covered it on the channel here in the past. And what did it manifest to? A lot of fear, a lot of scary articles. But those industries generally survived and adapted. What was I? I was listening to a YouTube video from the Financial Times about Brexit, and there's a lot of fear-mongering about Brexit, the failure of Brexit, and businesses that are just suffering. And they make it sound like it's a bad thing to have left Brexit. And there are all these problems, there are these regulation issues and all of these things. It's because, well, they've left the union and it's not a magic free market now. They've got to redo a whole lot of things. So a whole lot of businesses in the UK are now, well, stung with a lot of extra costs and extra burdens to try and sell to their biggest market. So a lot of them are quite frustrated about that. But, I mean, a farmer was discussing how, well, now we don't get this subsidy and this here and here, and so now we're working the farm better and tougher and harder than we ever have before. So he's kind of had to step up, adapt, and change. What's the better outcome? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Do you think we'll see a collapse in the Chinese property market, and will it flow through to Australian iron ore prices, and will it affect our industry? As always, have a great day. I will see you at the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.